In this first video, we will review the process from start to finish for redetermining a DCBS approved case. This video and following will be taken from the point of view that the basic steps are already understood. Therefore, I may move through some of the steps rather quickly. As always, if you have questions regarding the process demonstrated, please feel free to contact your supervisor for clarification. For DCBS approved cases, a reminder will appear in your Redet workbasket 45 days before the Redet date, as you can see in this example. We have several cases that are coming due for Redet. Some of them are 85 or 85A cases, and others are CCIE or TENF cases. For this example, we will be looking at Courtney Williams' case. Her case is coming due for Redet on April 15th, and we will need to get a new 85 or 85A for the case. Within 3 days of the notification in the workbasket, we will need to send an email to the authorizing worker requesting a new DCC 85 or 85A to be sent within 15 days. As you can see, that is what I have done here. We will also print a copy of this email and keep it with the Redet paperwork. Back in Kicks, we need to make a note of what actions we have taken today. In our history note, we indicated that we sent an email to the DCBS worker and that we filed the case in number 15 for follow-up. We've also entered a case change date for 15 days from the day we've sent the email. Once we have completed these actions, we will place the case in the corresponding pending location. If the 85 or 85A is received before the end of the 15 days, you will process it by using the information presented later in this video. However, if there is no response or the 85-85A is not received within 15 days, you will send a second email to the DCBS worker. The second email serves as a reminder to the worker that the case is quickly coming to an end and a new authorization will be needed for the services to continue under this program. Additionally, we will need to send the client a DCC 90F advising that the case is coming to an end. As you can see in this 90F, we have indicated the appointment time and date, which is within 15 days of the date on the letter. We have also advised the client that the current subsidies will be coming to an end and we have not received a new authorization. Therefore, the client will need to come in and apply as a low-income based client. Finally, we have indicated to the client what is needed to complete the CCIE interview. Remember, because this is a DCBS case, no technical eligibility has been verified to this point. Therefore, we will need to collect that information. We have also listed our due date as the date of the appointment. In this bottom paragraph, we remind the client that the case will be terminated if the information is not received by the end of the Redet period. This is sent to the client along with a DCC 90C, and a copy is maintained in the file. The 90C can be created in Kicks from the Forms page by selecting it from the list. The due date will be the date of the interview. Return to the case summary page and make notes about the actions taken on this date. We want to indicate in our notes that we've emailed the worker a second time, as well as having scheduled and sent a 90F appointment letter to the client. Place the file in the pending drawer for the appointment date set. Since the appointment is for a CCIE case, if a new authorization is received before the appointment date, the client will not be expected to come in for the appointment. When the DCC 85 or 85A is received, you will need to print the AKK0 for the 85As and then process the rest of the case in KICS. As you will recall, this is needed to verify the demographic and income information along with the 85A. Once you have gotten a copy of the AKK0 printed, you will want to keep it with the 85A and the other redetermination paperwork. Your interview date will be the same date that you have received the DCC 85 or 85A. You will want to update the demographic information and then move to the authorization screen. At the authorization screen, you will want to add a new authorization. Using the information contained on the DCC 85 or 85A, you will enter that into the authorization screen. As you can see here, our 85A is valid from April 15, 2011 to May 31, 2011. Just like with initial authorization information, you will want to enter the information contained on the DCC 85 or 85A into the sections listed here, and then save the authorization. Now that the authorization has been saved, we will move on with other information needed to complete the case. Once again, we will review the AKK0 for any changes in information. We can see that the grant amount is $262 and that there is no unearned or earned income on the case. Any changes in information will be entered into KICS. Once we have verified all of the information that needed to be changed, we will update the eligibility process and eligibility type. Here we will need to choose the correct TCCN option. One will be for the current eligibility period and one will be for the redetermination period. It's important to pick the correct one and double check before moving on with the process. We'll start with our first selection, and as we can see, this is actually for our current eligibility period. Therefore, we will need to choose the second selection, and it's updated to the eligibility start date of our redet period. On the second one, you typically can choose the second option or the same option you chose for the first one. You will want to verify that the information is correct, in which case this is not. So we'll go back and pick the first one. And that's updated the eligibility period to our redet information. We'll select our reason for care, which is going to be KTAP without earnings. At this point, we want to verify the information and select Finish. And at the Docs Needed page, we made no changes to the case, and so therefore there should be no change in copay. Although the 91 will be due back in 30 days, we will select no documents needed for each child so that the case can be approved at this time. We have moved to the Enrollment Summary page where we will allocate the copay and update any enrollment information as needed. We will need to create the DCC 94 and 94C and send to the provider for signatures. At the form page, we will need to print a copy of the application and the 91. We'll need to sign a copy of the application and place it in the file, and also sign the DCC 91 and set it aside to be sent to the client for their signature as well. We will also need to create a DCC 90F, advising the client that they need to sign and return the enclosed form and what the due date for that form is. If you will notice, we've only indicated 20 days on the DCC 90F. On the 19th of April, we'll send a 105 advising for the last 10 days in which the client has to return the 91. We will also need to create a DCC 105 advising the client of continued case approval. We've indicated here that the cases will be approved from April 15th to May 31st. We've also indicated the copay and its effective date, and which children will be eligible for child care services. We've also indicated the demographic information in this section. Now that we have completed all of our forms and mailed them to the client or the provider, we will need to return to KICS to make our history notes. The history note should follow the appropriate history note format, including the information that was received, what actions were taken, and how it was used to complete the case. You will also want to indicate where the file was placed. Once you've saved your history note, you will create a case change date for 20 days. Then print your history notes and place them in the file. The file will be placed in the pending drawer associated with the due date for the 94. Once the 94 has been received, you will receive it into KICS, place the signed copy in the file, and move the file to the pending drawer for the 91. When the 91 is received, you will make the history notes for the receipt of the 91, print the case comments for the entire redet process, and put all documentation with the notes on top into a DCC 202. You will then place the file in the active drawer. If the 91 is not received, the client will be sent a 105 advising of upcoming case termination. You will send the provider a DCC 94D advising of the pending end to enrollment. Remember, the dates on the 105 and 94D should be the first date that the case will not be active. No DDW date needs to be entered as KICS will end the case at the redet date. Make a history note, print the case comments for the entire redet process, and place the case with the discontinued files.